Do you ever feel like you're reaching out, but your partner is just not there? You might be sitting right next to them, but somehow there is a wall between you. It's frustrating, right? But what if I told you that emotional unavailability is often more subtle than it seems? And it's not always easy to spot until it's too late. Emotional unavailability can wear many disguises. It's not always as obvious as someone outright refusing to communicate. In fact, it's often the little things that give it away, the things we sometimes brush off or dismiss as minor quirks. But here is the catch: the subtle signs are often early warning signals. If we can learn to notice them, we can take steps that protect ourselves and better understand what's going on in the relationship. Let's look at the signs. Number one, the silent distance. One of the first signs you might notice is an increasing emotional distance. At first, it's small, a missed text, a half hearted attempt at a conversation, or a vague response when you share something personal. Over time, these little moments build up. You start wondering, are they really listening? Or do they even care? In fact, one of the hallmark traits of emotional unavailability is the inability or unwillingness to engage in deeper, more meaningful conversations. You find yourself doing most of the talking, but your partner's responses are surface level or distracted. They might change the subject when things get too real, or worse, go silent altogether. But here is the thing: it's not that they don't have emotions, they do. It's that they are locked away in a mental vault. And for whatever reason, they've chosen not to share them with you. Maybe it's fear of vulnerability, past trauma, or simply a lack of awareness of their own emotions. But it's no less painful to be on the receiving end of it. Another subtle sign of emotional unavailability is the inability to support you when you need it most. Instead of offering comfort when you're going through something difficult, your partner may deflect, give you a quick unemotional response, or even completely avoid the situation. Think of it this way: imagine you're sharing a deep personal struggle, and instead of acknowledging your pain, your partner changes the topic, starts scrolling through their phone, or makes a joke. You're left holding your emotions alone, feeling more isolated than you did before. Now, this doesn't always mean they don't care. It could also be a sign that they don't know how to care in the way you need them to. Emotional unavailability often comes from an inability to meet emotional needs because they haven't learned how, or they're afraid to get too close and being hurt. You see, conflict in relationships is inevitable, but how we deal with them can make or break a connection. Emotional unavailability often shows up as avoidance during disagreements. Rather than engaging with you, your partner may shut down. Instead of hashing out the problem, they'll rather sweep it under the rug. It prevents growth and healing from past issues. Without confronting and addressing conflict, the cycle of emotional distance continues. And while we are on the topic of conflict, notice how they react when they try to open up emotionally. Do they roll their eyes? Do they brush your concerns aside? Do they dismiss your feelings, saying things like you're overreacting or it's not a big deal? Emotional unavailability often manifests as a lack of empathy. This lack of emotional responsiveness can make you feel unseen, invalidated, and ultimately disconnected. Now, here is something truly interesting. Some emotional unavailable partners will still be physically present. They'll show up, they'll hang out, but they won't emotionally show up. This paradox can be confusing because it might look like they care. They are there for dinner, they'll watch the movie with you, they might even cuddle. But when it comes to matters of the heart, the space between you is wider than it should be. Emotional availability isn't just about being there, it's about being with you, it's about being present, not only physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You see, another often overlooked sign of emotional unavailability is their lack of expressing needs. Think about it. In a healthy relationship, Both partners share their hopes, fears, and desires. But someone emotionally unavailable might withhold their needs from you, not because they don't have them, but because they either don't trust you with them or they don't know what they even need. If they aren't emotionally open, it means they aren't vulnerable enough to make themselves known to you on a deeper level. They may say, I'm fine, but it's clear they are not. Or they avoid sharing what they truly want from the relationship. So, what does all of this mean? It means that emotional unavailability is not a black and white issue, it's a spectrum of behavior and subtle signs that can easily slip under the radar. It means that you deserve a partner who can show up for you, not just in physical proximity, but emotionally, mentally, and vulnerably. Now, here is the part you need to remember. If you notice the signs, don't just ignore them. Don't tell yourself it's just a phase or that they will change when they realize how much they mean to you. Emotional unavailability is a pattern. You can't fix it by loving harder, talking more, or being patient for years. If your partner isn't willing to meet you where you need them emotionally, it's important to recognize this for what it is, a potential barrier to intimacy and long term happiness. The real question is, how do you handle this? You have choices. You can gently bring it up and open the conversation. You have to be prepared to hear difficult truths. You can decide that your emotional needs are non negotiable and create the space for someone who is emotionally available to enter your life. Or you can keep waiting, hoping that they'll change. But keep in mind, you can't change someone who isn't willing to change themselves. Emotional availability is a gift, not a luxury. You deserve to be with someone who can show up for you in every way that matters. So, take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, are you truly seen in your relationship? Are you emotionally nourished? If not, maybe it's time to reconsider who's standing beside you. I hope this has helped someone today. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.